Hello, I'm Dr. Jim Anderson, and thank you very much for joining me on this course on reverse auction secrets, how to get what you want. Reverse auctions are relatively new. They're a brand new way of actually conducting an auction. Now, if you don't know what a reverse auction is, maybe that's the very first thing that we should start off by talking about. In a traditional auction, somebody who has something that they want to sell, let's say for example a painting, will go to an auction house and say, I would like to sell this painting and I would like to get the highest price possible. The auction house will then take the painting and they will conduct obviously an auction. Now if you're interested in buying the painting, you will come to the auction and the auction house will present the painting and they will say, we are now going to take bids. If you'd like to buy the painting, you'll put your hand up and you'll say, I'm willing to spend some money to buy that particular painting. Let's say I'm willing to spend $1 million for that painting. Now if somebody else who's in the room or on a phone decides that they would like to have the painting more than you want, they will say, hey listen, I'm willing to spend $2 million for that particular painting. And so it goes back and forth and back and forth. And what happens is that the price that's being bid for that particular painting keeps going up over time. Now at some point in time during the auction process, what's going to happen is somebody's going to say, I'm willing to spend, for example, $10 million for that painting. And everybody else in the room is going to go, okay, that's it. That's too much. I'm not willing to spend that much money. And so they will stop bidding. At this point in time, the person who stated that they were willing to spend $10 million for the painting wins the auction. When the auction is then over, that person is responsible for paying $10 million to the auction house and they will receive the painting which they can then take home and put on the wall. Now that's how a traditional auction works. A reverse auction is very similar, but it's a little different, and the differences are what's so important. In a reverse auction, somebody who wishes to buy services is running the auction. What they're going to do is they're going to inform all the vendors and all the suppliers who might possibly provide that service to them that they're going to be running a reverse auction. On the day and the time that the auction is going to occur, and these are generally done online, everybody will log on to the auction system. Now when it starts, the person who's running the auction says, listen, we're looking for example, IT help desk staffing. Okay, I would like to start the auction now. And one of the suppliers will say, listen, I'm willing to provide you 5 people for 6 months for $50,000. Now somebody else, another vendor or supplier is going to say, hey, I'll provide you 6 people for 6 months for $45,000. And so it goes back and forth and back and forth, and eventually there hits a supplier or a vendor who says, I'm willing to provide, for example, 8 people for 6 months for $30,000. And the rest of the suppliers and the rest of the vendors say, stop, I'm not willing to do that. You can have the contract. And that final firm that bid the most as far as services at the lowest price will win the reverse auction. And that's the way it works. Now, there's a lot of subtleties going on here. There's a lot of things that you need to know, that if you're going to be participating in a reverse auction, if you know these things, you can increase your chances of, number 1, being successful, and number 2, not making any mistakes, so it'll leave you with a contract that's going to be not good business for your company. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to cover in this training. We're going to cover 3 major things in this training. The very first one is the questions that you need to answer before the auction even starts. This is critical information that you're going to have to know in order to be successful. The second thing that we're going to cover is how to prepare for the auction. The actual auction event means that you're going to have to be ready. You're going to have certain pieces of information available to you so that you can be very successful during that particular auction. And the final, number 3 thing that we're going to cover is probably the thing that you're most interested in. What is your auction strategy? What can you do during a reverse auction to make sure that you're going to be as successful as possible?